So namaste. So today I will be demonstrating the yoga asanas that is required for P2 Hatha Yoga course. So before we start, you want to be in a comfortable clothes, you can wear jogging pants. You can also wear shorts if you like, and then you want to wear shirt that's not too tight and not too loose. Okay? And also you will need a yoga mat. The yoga mat is a rubber mat that you can buy from any sports shops nowadays. Okay? So before demonstrating the asanas, okay, first is standing position. So in the standing position, you want to bring your feet together, your big toes touching, and your heels touching. If you have problems with balance, you can always keep your feet apart, okay, about hip width apart, and you stand tall. So from the ground, standing tall, lengthen your spine, opening your chest, relax your shoulders, and then bring your arms to your sides. You want to gaze softly to the nose, and then you want to breathe normally. Okay? So now I'm going to face here and demonstrate what we call the Surya Namaskar A. So it's a series of 9 postures linked together through movement and breath. Standing tall, relaxing your shoulders, gaze softly to your nose. Okay. When you're ready, we inhale to open the arms and bring your arms up, palms together, look up to the thumb, shoulders relax away from your ears. Then exhale, open your arms to the sides, bend the knees, bring your rib cage to the thighs, place your palms flat on the floor, and bring your head down. Shifting the weight slightly forward to the balls of your feet. This is position 2. Position 3, inhale. Lift your chin and your heart, lengthen your spine. Here you want your back flat, okay? And then you want to keep the tips of your fingers touching the floor. Gaze softly to the nose, position 3. Then position 4, on the exhalation, place your palms flat on the floor. Step your feet as far back as you can, and come into push-up position. You want to keep your thighs engaged, your abs tight, and shoulders over your wrist. Position 4. Position 5. Drop the knees, point your toes back, and then push your hips forward, and open your chest, gaze softly to the nose. So here, you want to roll your shoulders back and lift the chest, tightening your abs to protect your spine. And exhaling, flex your feet, push your hips back, and then bring the head down. Okay? So here you want to feel the stretch all the way to the hips. And this is just a preparation to slowly lift the knees off the floor. You come into downward facing dog. Okay? So in the downward facing dog, you can keep your knees slightly bent, hips tilting up, tailbone up towards the ceiling. If you have flexible hamstrings, then you can straighten the knees and then send your hips high. If the hamstrings are tight, then you can keep your knees slightly bent. Okay? So what you want to avoid is rounding the back. You want to straighten the back, hips up towards the ceiling. We stay here for 5 deep breaths. After 5 breaths, on the exhalation, look forward, bend the knees, walk the feet forward in between the hands. Inhaling to look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, head down. Inhale slowly, come all the way up, palms together, look up to the thumb. And then exhale, Samastitihi. Or bring your arms down to your sides. Okay, so that's Sun Salutation A, 9 postures linked together through movement and breath. Okay, so next I will demonstrate the Sun Salutation B series So this time it's just a variation of sun salutation A, but it has 17 postures again linked together through movement and breath. So standing, feet together, gaze softly to the nose. We bend the knees as if we're sitting on a chair. And then inhale, bring your arms up, look up to the thumb. On the exhalation, bend forward, place your hands flat on the floor, head down. Inhale, lengthen the spine, look up. Exhale, place your palms flat on the floor. Slowly step back into push-up position. Dropping the knees, point your toes back. Push your hips forward, inhaling into upward facing dog. And on the exhalation, flex your feet and then push your hips up and high, coming into downward facing dog. And from here, we pivot the left foot, left heel to the right big toe, look forward, and make a big step forward with the right foot. But for some of you who cannot do a full big step and you're just stepping halfway forward, use your right hand and step your right foot forward. Lift your chest. From here, we inhale to come up into Warrior One. Look up to the thumb. And then exhale. Place your hands down. Step back into push-up position. Dropping the knees. Point your toes back. Push your hips forward. Inhaling into upward facing dog. And on the exhalation, flex your feet. And then push your hips up and high, coming into downward facing dog. From here, we pivot the left foot, left heel to the right big toe, look forward, and make a big step forward with the right foot. But for some of you who cannot do a full big step and you're just stepping halfway forward, use your right hand and step your right foot forward. Lift your chest. From here, we inhale to come up into Warrior One. Look up to the thumb. And then exhale. Place your hands down. Step back into push-up position. Drop your knees again. Point your toes back. Push your hips forward. Inhaling into upward facing dog. Flex your feet. And then push your hips up and high, coming into downward facing dog. And pivot your right foot. Look forward, step the left foot forward in between the hands. Remember to use your left hand. Lift your chest. Inhale, come up, look up to the thumb. And exhale, hands down. Step back into push-up position, shoulders over wrist. Drop your knees, point your toes back. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Flex your feet, push your hips up and high, downward facing dog. Then again, we stay here for 5 deep breaths. On the last exhalation, bend the knees and look forward. Step or walk your feet forward in between your hands. Bring your feet together, inhaling, lift your heart. Then exhale, fold, head down. Bend the knees, inhale. Come up, palms together, look up to the thumb. And then exhale, we stand. Samastitihi. So ideally, you want to practice sun salutation A 5 times and sun salutation B 5 times as well. So you first practice sun salutation A, one after the other, and then next. Okay? So once you get stronger, you can also do variations of the sun salutation series. So this time, I'm going to demonstrate another version or a more advanced version of the sun salutation A and B. So sun salutation A, feet together, big toes, heels touching. We inhale, bring the arms up, look up to the thumb. Exhaling, bending forward, hands on the floor, head down. Inhaling, look up, lengthen your spine. Exhale, place your palms flat on the floor. And then instead of stepping back, we hop back into push-up position. Now, if you're strong, have a strong upper body, put your knees down, and then bend your elbows and bring your chest halfway down to the floor into almost like a push-up position. And from here, drop your hips, point your toes. Inhale, upward, facing dog. And exhale, downward, facing dog. And stay here 5 deep breaths. After 5 breaths, bend your knees and look forward. And again, instead of stepping forward, we hop the feet forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, palms together, look up to the thumb. And exhale, Samastitihi. Okay. So, sun salutation B, the more advanced version, or intermediate version. Bend the knees, inhale, arms up, look up to the thumb. Exhale, bend forward, hands on the floor, head down. Inhale, look up, long spine. Place your palms on the floor, hop back into push-up position. Knees down, chest halfway down to the floor. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot your left foot and step the right foot forward. Inhale into warrior 1, look up to the thumb. Exhale, hands down, step back, and then put your knees down and chest halfway down to the floor. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot your right foot, step the left foot forward. Inhale into warrior 1, look up to the thumb. Exhale, hands down, step back, knees down, and then chest halfway down to the floor. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here and breathe. On the exhalation, bend the knees and look forward, hopping forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, arms up. And Samastitihi. Exhale. So now we're going to learn the first 2 poses of the standing series. The first 2 poses are called Padangustasana and Padahastasana. Pada means foot, and then asana means posture. So to begin, you're in Samastitihi. you place your hands by your hips, bend your knees a little bit, and then hop your feet hip-width apart. So you want your feet parallel to each other with your toes pointing forward. Then you inhale, you roll your shoulders up and back so that your shoulders are down and relaxed. You gaze softly to the nose, and on the exhalation, you bend from the hips, bend your knees, and then bring your chest, knees, bring your rib cage to the thighs, relax your arms, grab hold of your big toes with your middle and the index fingers. Take another breath to pull away, lengthen, and then exhale, fold, head down. Staying here for 5 deep breaths. Okay? So here, if your rib cage are not, it's not touching your thighs, then bend your knees. What's important is you keep the rib cage in contact with the thighs. Okay? If you're flexible, then you can straighten the knees. Otherwise, you can keep your knees slightly bent. Okay? So you stay here for 5 deep breaths. After 5 breaths, we inhale to pull away. And then to the next pose, Padahastasana, we place the palms under the feet. So we want to make sure the back of your hands are on the floor. Again, bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can place your hands down. Take another breath again to pull away. And then exhale, relax your head, shoulders, and elbows. Deep breaths. And then to exit, inhale, pull away. Exhale, place your hands by your hips. Inhale, stand up. And then bend your knees, step or hop your feet together, and Samastitihi. Now I'm going to teach you how to perform the Trikonasana sequence. So Trikonasana means triangle. So Triko means 3. And asana means posture. Okay. So from samastitihi, or equal standing, okay, we step to the right and bring your arms in T position. So your feet should be about 3 to 4 feet apart. Then you turn your right foot about 90 degrees to the right, and then left foot about 60, 70 degrees in. So here what you want to make sure is that your hips are pointing to that direction. Both knees are straight, and then we bring the arms up to the side. So imagine that you are standing in between 2 walls, so that the position or the movement is just on this plane. So from here, we inhale, shift your upper body to the right, and as you shift your upper body to the right, you want to push your hip to the other side. Okay? And then go as far forward as you can. And then on the exhalation, lower your right hand down to the shin or whatever you can comfortably reach. For some of you, it might just be the knees, and that's okay. For some of you, the shin or all the way down to the ankle. Again, here what we want to make sure is that we're opening the rib cage to the ceiling, and then we extend the left arm up. We gaze to the thumb. We stay here for 5 deep breaths. And then to exit, on the exhalation, you look down, bend the right knee a little bit, and use that leg to push yourself up, keeping your arms in T position. Then we do the other side. We pivot the right foot in, and then the left foot out. Okay, so it's the same pose, but doing it on the left side. Again, hips facing in this direction. Arms in T position. Inhale to shift your upper body to the left, pushing your right hip to the other side, and then exhale, lower your hand to whatever you can comfortably reach. Then try to lengthen. Make sure that you're lengthening both sides of your body, opening your rib cage, and then extending your right arm up towards the ceiling and staying here in the pose for 5 deep breaths. And then on the exhalation, look down, bend your left knee a little bit, and then inhale, come up. You can relax your arms. So that's triangle or Trikonasana A. Then we move on to Trikonasana B. From this position, we pivot the left foot in, and then pivot the right foot out. And in this pose, we want the hips facing this direction. Okay? You want your hips square. Adjust your feet if you need to so that you can maintain your balance. Hips square, both knees straight. Now, right hand, place it on your sacrum, and then bring your left arm up. Inhale here. On the exhalation, reach as far forward as you can, and then lower your left hand again to the shin, to whatever you can comfortably reach. Those who can, then you can place your hand on the floor inside and beside the foot. Take another breath to lift your heart and lengthen your spine. Then exhaling, twist to the right. Look over your right shoulder and breathe. Okay? If you can maintain your balance here, you can also extend your right arm up. Stay here for 5 deep breaths. So here, your hand can be again on the shin or on the floor flat. Okay? If it's too much, you can always keep the fingertips on the floor. What's important is hips square, and then you're twisting your spine. Okay, so again, 5 deep breaths. And then after 5 breaths, look down, micro bend the knees, swing your arms up, inhale, then exhale, pivot your right foot in, and then left foot facing front. Square your hips. Okay, both knees are straight, left hand on the sacrum, inhale, right arm up, and then exhaling, reach as far forward as you can, pushing your left hip back to keep your hip square, and lower your hand on your shin. Again, if you can reach the floor, do so. Take another breath to lengthen your spine, and exhale, twist to the left. Look over your left shoulder, and stay here, breathe, or extend your left arm up. Okay, again, if it's too difficult, then you can keep your hands here. 5 breaths. After 5 deep breaths, look down, bend your knees, inhale, come up in T position, soften both knees, and then exhale, we close Samastitihi. So for this lesson, we're going to learn how to do Parshvakonasana, or side angle pose. Again, there's 2 versions, Parshvakonasana A and Parshvakonasana B. To begin, we're always standing in attention or Samastitihi. Okay. Then we step to the right. This time, we step really wide, about 5 to 6 feet apart. Arms in T position. And then we turn the right foot 90 degrees to the right, left foot about 60, 70 degrees in. We bend the right knee so that we are in a lunge position. Here we want to make sure that the knees are above the ankle, your thighs almost parallel to the floor. Okay, so if the thighs are not parallel to the floor, then perhaps you want to step your left foot further back. Okay, so arms in T position. Now, basics is just to place your forearm lightly on your thigh, bring your left arm up, and then turn your palm so that your palm is facing you. Lower your left arm over so that you're forming a diagonal position. Okay, so there's a long diagonal line from your heel to the knee, to the hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingers. And here, try to open your torso so that you're opening to the ceiling. Gaze softly to your hands. Now, those who can, right hand, instead of placing it here, lower your hands so that your hands are on the floor beside or outside your foot. And again, lengthen. Breathe here 5 times. On the exhalation, look down. Inhale to come up. Pivot your right foot in and left foot out. So now we're going to do the same pose, but on the left side. Bending your left knee, keeping your back leg straight. Rest your forearm lightly on your thigh. Open your torso, and then bring your arm into a diagonal position. Okay, so only if you can maintain this position, then you can place your left hand on the floor. Okay? Otherwise, it's enough to keep your hands here. Lengthen. Breathe. And after 5 breaths, inhale, come up, and you can relax your arms if you need to. Now, for the Parshvakonasana B, or side angle pose B version, pivot your left foot in, and then right foot pointing that way. Bend your right knee so that you're in a lunge position, and then make sure that your rib cage is facing that side. Okay? Bring your left arm up, inhale. Exhale, twist to the right, keeping your arm straight. Bring your arm across the knee, right hand on your sacrum, and twist to the right. Stay here for 5 deep breaths. And after 5 breaths, exhale, look forward. Inhale, come up in T position. Pivot your right foot in. Left foot pointing forward. Again, square your rib cage to this side. Bend your left knee. Adjust the back foot if you need to. Inhale to bring your right arm up. Exhale, twist to the left. Arm across your knee. Look over your left shoulder. Stay here 5 breaths. After 5 breaths, exhale, look forward. Inhale, come up. Bend both knees. Step forward. Samastitihi. Okay, so now we're going to learn the Prasarita Padottanasana series. So Prasarita Padottanasana means wide angle poses. So there are 4 variations, and we always start with Samastitihi. So from Samastitihi, we inhale and step to the right, feet about 3 to 4 feet apart, and we keep the feet parallel to each other. Place your hands on your hips. Then roll your shoulders up and back. Inhale. On the exhalation, keep your knees slightly bent. Relax or bend from your hips. Bend forward, and then place your palms flat on the floor. Okay? So if you can't reach the floor with straight knees, then bend your knees. Place your palms flat down. Again, bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can place your palms down. Then inhale to straighten your elbows and pull away so that your back is flat. Then exhale, shift the weight slightly forward. And then bend and bring your head down. Elbows pointing back, and breathe 5 times. To exit, inhale, pull away, lengthen your spine. Then exhale, place your hands by your hips. Inhale again to slowly stand all the way up. Then exhale, pause here. Now B, version B. Inhale to bring your arms in T position. Then exhale, bring your hands by your hips. Again, roll your shoulders up and back. Inhale, elbows back. Then exhale, we bend forward again, bend from your hips, knees slightly bent. And then bring your head all the way down. Shift the weight slightly forward. Then make sure that you're stable and you don't fall forward. Feel the stretch at the back of your legs. Sit bones up towards the ceiling. Breathe 5 times. And after 5 breaths, exhale, look down, bend your knees once more, and slowly come all the way up. And exhale. Now C, we inhale, bring your arms out again in T position, and then roll your shoulders up and back, keeping your chest open. On the exhalation, place your hands behind you and then interlock your fingers. Keep your elbows slightly bent first so that you can roll your shoulders. Okay? And then, once your shoulders are loosened up, elbows straight, pull away, bring your arms away from your buttocks, lift your heart, inhale, and then exhaling, soften the knees, bend forward, and then send your arms down to the floor. Then from here, you can again explore and move your shoulders some more. And then stay in the middle. Stay for 5 deep breaths. And on the exhalation, look down. Soften your knees. Then inhale. Come all the way up. And then that's version C. Now D. Hands by your hips. Inhale, lift your heart. Then exhale, bend forward again. This time grab hold of your big toes with your middle index fingers. Again, bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can grab your toes. Inhale, pull away, lengthen. Then exhale, bend forward, relax your elbows, head down. Deep breaths. Exhaling to look down. Inhale, pull away until your elbows are straight. Exhale, bring your hands on your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay, then bend your knees, turn your heels in, and slowly come to the front of your mat, Samastitihi, or hands by your side. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate and teach you how to do Parshvottanasana. So from Samastitihi, feet together, again, big toes and heels touching. Roll your shoulders up and back to open the chest. And then bring your hands, arms behind you, and we grab the elbows. If you can, okay, I'm just going to turn around so that I can show you how to do the prayer position from behind. Open your chest, bring your hands as far back as you can. Bring the tips of your fingers and thumbs together. Bring your arms all the way up. Bring your elbows in, palms together, and then bring your elbows out again so that now you are in a prayer position from behind. Okay? So just make sure you don't push too much that you hurt your wrist. Otherwise, just grabbing the elbow should be enough. So from here, step your right foot 3 feet back, pivot so that now you're facing the back of your mat. Square your hips and your shoulders to the back of your mat. Inhale to prepare. And then as you exhale, keeping both knees straight, bend from your hips, bring your heart and chin down towards your shins. Deep breaths. So go only as low as you can and stay. Focus on deep breathing. And on the exhalation, look down, micro bend or bend your knees a little bit. Then slowly inhale, push yourself up. Exhaling, pivot your right foot in and face the front of your mat. Inhale to prepare. Then exhaling, keeping both knees straight. Slowly bring your heart and chin down towards the shin. Keeping your elbows back, shoulders back, keep your chest open. 5 deep breaths. Exhale, look down, bend your knees, lift your chest. Inhale, come up. Relax your arms. Come to the front of your mat and Samastitihi. Now I'm going to demonstrate the 2 standing or balance poses in the standing sequence. The first pose is called Uttita Hasta Padangustasana, and the second one is Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana. So from Samastitihi, feet together. Let's turn the feet out so that the feet forms a narrow V position. Then place your left hand by your hips. Stand tall. You can bend the right knee. And then see if you can balance or shift the weight, most of your weight on your left foot. Then from here, slowly test your balance by lifting your right knee up. Okay? And if you can stay here, then just place your right hand lightly on the knee and stay for 5 deep breaths. So it's important also that you fix your gaze to a spot in front of you. Okay? And then stay there, look there, so that you can maintain your balance. Imagine also there's a string attached to the crown of your head, lifting your body up so that your spine is long and you're standing tall. So after 5 breaths, move from your hip. Open your hip so that you're bringing your right knee out to the right. And then turn your head and look to the opposite side. Again, left leg is straight and strong. You're standing tall. 5 breaths. And after 5 breaths, gently look forward and then bring your knee to the front again. Place your hands by your hips and then straighten your right knee. Stand tall. Stay here for 5 breaths. Okay, so here, try to really engage your psoas, your quadriceps engaged, and your body straight. After 5 breaths, then put your right foot down. And then you can bend your knees, shake your legs a little bit, and relax. So that's right side. Now we do the left side. Place your right hand on your right hip, standing tall. Okay, shift the weight on your right foot. Then gently lift your left heel up. Okay, slowly shifting all of your weight to the right foot. Test your balance. And then once you feel comfortable, then slowly lift your left knee up so that your left knee is high and about the same level as your hip. Then left hand lightly touching your knee and stay here for 5 deep breaths. If 5 breaths is too much, you can always start with 3 breaths. Okay, so what's comfortable for you? Ideally, we want to stay long and train our balance. After 5 breaths, imagine you're moving from your hip. Open the hip, so that you're bringing your left knee out to the side, and then turn your head and look to the opposite side. Standing tall, deep breaths. Then after 5 breaths, turn your head so that you're looking forward. Bring your left knee to the front again. 1 breath. Place your hands by your hips. Straighten the knee. Stay for 5 breaths. And exhaling to lower your left foot down. And samastitihi. So that pose or sequence is called Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana. So next balance pose, okay, is a lotus. Okay, lotus balance pose. But first, we're going to test again if we're able to balance in lotus or half lotus. So from here, bend your knees and open your right knee out. Slowly lift your right foot up and place your right ankle on the top of your left knee so that your legs now are forming a sort of like a number 4 position. Then bend from your hips. Imagine there's a chair behind you and you want to sit on that chair. Okay? Keep your chest open. Then your hands, just lightly put it on your shin. Okay, stay here for 5 deep breaths. You can either look down or look forward. And after 5 breaths, inhale slowly to stand up and samastitihi. Okay, so other side. Shift your weight on your right foot. Open your left knee out. Lift your leg up. Then slowly place your left ankle on the top of your right knee. Imagine there's a chair behind you. Bend from your hips and your right knee. Keep your back straight and slowly lower your hips down. Okay? And then stay here for 5 deep breaths. And after 5 breaths, inhale to stand up and samastitihi. Okay, so if you find it really difficult to maintain your balance, you can always put a chair beside you and hold on to that chair, okay, or a table, or you can use the wall. Okay? So what's important is you're training yourself to stand on one leg. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you what is collectively known as the warrior sequence. So the warrior sequence is composed of 3 poses or postures or asanas. One is Utkatasana, where you're going to bend your knees and then bring your arms up in this position. This is Utkatasana. And then the next 2 would be the warrior pose, warrior 1 or Virabhadrasana A, and warrior 2 or warrior B or Virabhadrasana B. 1 is where you bend the right knee, back leg straight, and then arms up. Okay? And then B is that we place your arms to the side. Okay? And then the body is facing the side. But in this tradition, those 3 poses are done in sequence and in a specific order and transition movements. Okay? So we stand again in samastitihi. We take a transition or vinyasa. Inhale. We bring the arms up. Look up to the thumb. Exhale to bend forward, placing the hands on the floor, head down. Inhale to look up, lengthen the spine. Exhaling to step back into push-up position with your shoulders over your wrists. Drop the knees, point your toes, push your hips forward. Inhale into upward facing dog. Flex your feet, push your hips up and high, coming into downward facing dog. Take one breath here, inhale. Then on the exhalation, look forward, walk or step your feet forward in between the hands. And then bend the knees, lift your chest, and then bring your arms up. Keeping your hips low into Utkatasana. Stay here for 5 breaths. And on the exhalation, bend and place your hands on the floor. Inhaling to look up, lengthen the spine. Exhaling, step back into push-up position, shoulders over wrists. Drop the knees. Push your hips forward, point your toes, inhaling. Upward facing dog. Flex your feet, push your hips up and high, coming into downward facing dog. Then pivot your left foot, left heel to the right big toe. Look forward. And then step your right foot forward in between your hands. Come up into warrior one. Right knee bent, back leg straight. Palms together, look up to the thumb. And breathe. And after 5 breaths, straighten your right knee. Pivot your right foot in, turn around to the direction to the left. So now you're facing the back of your mat. Bend your left knee, keeping your right leg straight. Look up to the thumb and breathe. And after 5 breaths, open your torso to the right and drop your arms down into T position. You can slide your right foot further back to widen your stance. Lower your hips, keeping your back straight. Stay here for 5 breaths, warrior 2 or warrior B. After 5 breaths, inhale, straighten the left knee, turn your left foot in, right foot out. Exhale, bend your right knee. And after 5 breaths, bring your left arm up, place both hands on the floor, step the right foot back into push-up position, drop the knees, point your toes, push your hips forward, inhale. And then exhale, come into downward facing dog. Then from here, we're going to transition into sitting. So lift your heels up, turn the heels towards each other, bend your knees, okay, as if you're going to jump. And then shift the weight on your hands, step your left or your right foot forward, followed with the other leg, and very slowly, hands to the back, and sit down with your legs crossed. Okay. So now I'm going to teach and demonstrate the seated poses or asanas. So after transitioning into seating position, okay, so in sitting, we want to feel the sit bones on the floor. So you want to move your hips so that you feel both sit bones on the floor. And then you straighten both legs in front of you. Okay. You can keep your knees slightly bent so that you can sit tall. What's important is your spine is straight, and imagine your back is against the wall behind you. Okay. Only if you're flexible do you straighten the knees. But if you're in the process of straightening your knees, you're rounding the back, then just bend the knees. Okay. And then sit tall. First pose, Dandasana or staff pose. Place your hands by your hips with your fingers pointing forward. Your palms lightly touching the floor. We lengthen the spine, gaze softly to the nose, and stay here for 5 deep breaths. And after 5 breaths into Paschimottanasana, A, grab hold of your big toes. Inhale to pull away and lengthen the spine. Then exhale, move forward, bring your rib cage to the thighs, then chest, and then bring your head down. Just relax your elbows and your shoulders and stay here for 5 breaths. And after 5 breaths, look forward. Inhale, pull away. Then exhale, hold the outer edge of your feet into Paschimottanasana C. Okay? Or if you can, interlock your fingers and grab your feet. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, head down. Breathing. After 5 breaths, inhale, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, release your hands. Then gently cross your legs. Tuck your feet under your thighs. Place your hands on the floor. Look forward and slowly shift your weight forward with the hands. Straighten your arms, push the floor. Step back into push-up position. Then exhale. Place your knees down, point your toes, inhale, upward facing dog, and then exhale, flex your feet, downward facing dog. Again, inhale, heels up, heels towards each other, bend your knees, look forward, step, cross your legs, and sit down. Okay, so the next pose in the seated sequence is called Purvottanasana, or the reverse plank. So after the transition from Paschimottanasana, you're again seated with your legs crossed. We bend the knees, okay, so with the feet about hip-width apart, feet parallel to each other, okay. Place your hands about 1 foot from your back with your fingers pointing forward. And then roll your shoulders up and back. Try to bring your shoulder blades together and then elbows back. Slowly lift your heart until your arms are straight. Lift your chest. Okay? So if you don't have neck problems, you can always bring your head all the way back. Otherwise, you can keep your neck in a neutral position. Now, with the strong legs, press your feet down and slowly lift your hips up as high up as you can until your knees, your hips, and your shoulders are of the same level. And then slowly drop your head back. Open your chest. Stay here for 5 deep breaths. And slowly to come down, chin to your chest, buttocks down. Okay. And for some of you who have stronger and more flexible legs, you can also try this one. So this is the full pose. Purvottanasana, legs straight with your toes pointed, hands 1 foot behind again with the fingers pointing forward. Then open your chest, elbows straight. So when you're ready, press your heels down and lift your hips as high up as you can so that your feet are flat on the floor. Open the chest and breathe 5 times. Then exhale slowly. Bring the hips down. Cross your legs. Transition, hands on the floor. Lift your hips up. Step back into push-up position. Knees down, point your toes. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Then one breath, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step, cross your legs. And sit down. Okay, so now we're ready to learn the closing sequence in our yoga practice. So the closing sequence includes 3 poses, all in cross-legged position. Now let's first test if we can already do the lotus. Okay. So to test, you open your legs in this position. Again, make sure that you're sitting and you feel the sit bones on the floor. Okay. Sitting tall. Now slowly lift your right leg up, and then use your hands to slowly bring your foot in. And make sure that your hips are relaxed. So how to test it is that if you lift your right knee up and then release it, it will automatically drop down. Okay? If it's doing this, that means you're engaging the muscles in this side. So make sure that the hips are relaxed. You can also explore it by moving it in a circular manner. Okay? Then once your hips are relaxed, gently bring your heel as close as you can to the opposite groin or to your navel. Okay? And then now your leg is in a half lotus position. There should be no strain in this area of the knee. Okay? If there's strain in the knee, then back off and do just an easy cross-leg position. Okay? But once you're here, half lotus, place your hands behind you and then gently lean back a little bit. From here, slowly wiggle or move your feet, left foot close to your shin until your heel is touching the shin. And from here, press your toes down and see if you can lift your heels up like this. Once your heels are almost on the same level of your calf muscle, then you're ready to do the lotus. Okay? So in this case, use both hands, scoop your foot, and then again, relax. Make sure that the left hip is relaxed. And then just gently bring your leg in so that now we're in a full lotus position. Again, no strain in the knees. Okay? If the position of the leg is something like this, your heel is under your shin, then no need to do the lotus. Just tuck your leg under, and then you are in a half lotus position. Okay? So most of you will probably just do this position. So from here with the half lotus, or again, if this is too difficult, just do cross legs, but sit tall. Okay? So first pose, Yoga Mudrasana, or the yoga gesture. Bring your arms behind you and grab your elbows. Inhale, then exhale slowly. Bring your forehead down to the floor. And stay here for 10 breaths. In case where your head doesn't touch the floor and it's really far, instead of placing your hands behind you, just put your hands in front and bring your head down. Again, stay here for 5 or 10 deep breaths. Those who can, hands behind, forehead down. Then after 10 breaths, inhale, come up, sitting tall. Bring your arms straight in front of you into Padmasana or half lotus or lotus. Bring your index tips of your index fingers and thumb together into Jnana Mudra or Chin Mudra. Sitting tall, relax your shoulders. Gaze softly to the nose and stay for a minimum of 10 breaths. So after 10 deep breaths, we're now ready to do Utplituhi, or the last pose in the closing sequence. So from here, lift your knees up. Okay, you can keep your left foot down, and then place your hands first by your hips. Okay, hands down. And from here, slowly move it forward. From here, shift or bring your chest forward so that your shoulders are over your arms. And then slowly press the floor so that you're lifting your bum up. Okay? Ideally, you want to stay here for 25 breaths. But if you're still working on your strength, you can always come up 1 and then come down. And again, 2 and then down. So making sure that you don't put the weight on the wrist. You want to make sure that you're spreading your fingers wide and putting the weight on the fingers as well so that you don't strain the wrist too much. Okay? So you stay up for a total of, let's just say 10 breaths, minimum 10. Those who are in lotus, it's actually easier to do it in a lotus. So if you're in a lotus, you make sure that you lift your knees up, place your hands forward, keeping your knees close to your chest, lean forward, and then press yourself up. Stay here for 10 to 25 breaths. Again, if you're still working on your strength, come up and down, come up and down for a total of 10 breaths. And after you do Utplituhi for 10 breaths, gently uncross the legs, place your hands on the floor, lift up, step back into push-up position, knees, and point your toes. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. 1 deep breath, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step, cross your legs. And sit down. So now I'm going to teach you how to do Shavasana, or the corpse pose. The Shavasana, or the practice of relaxation, is a very important part of a yoga practice. So after completing your sun salutations, your poses, you want to make sure that you're going to lie down and rest so that your body system is resting and will fully recover from the asana practice, or the practice of the exercises. So what we want to do is open the feet wide so that your feet are about mat width apart. You place your hands behind your thighs, round your back, and very slowly roll your spine all the way down to the floor. And then straighten your spine, your body. Bring your arms to the sides with your palms facing upwards. Okay. Relax your shoulders. Make sure that you find a really comfortable position with your head, neck, and spine aligned. Your arms are about 10 to 20 inches from the sides of your body, and your feet are relaxed. So some key points here. If you feel that there's pain in your lower back, then you can do a modified Shavasana. You bend the knees at about 90-degree angle, open your feet wide, and bring your knees together. What we want to make sure is the spine is in a neutral position, and then you are comfortable here. Alternately, you can put a pillow under your knee so that your legs are supported like this. Okay, otherwise, we lie down and rest completely for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Eyes closed, soft breath. So after resting for 3 to 5 minutes, gently move out of Shavasana. Start by breathing deeper again. And once you feel that you're ready to move, introduce small movements first, wiggling your toes and your fingers, your wrists and your ankles, making sure that we don't rush into sitting. So move in whatever way that's comfortable for you. And when you're ready to make a big movement, bend your elbows, bring your feet together, bring your arms over your head, and stretch your body from the fingertips down to your toe tips, giving your body a big, big stretch. Next step is to slowly bend the knees. Then place your left arm in front of your chest. Then drop the knees all the way down to the right. Rest your head on your right upper arm, left hand in front, and just stay here in a side-lying relaxed position. You can also bend your elbows or just keep it straight. Then to sit down, place your left hand on the floor. Use the right elbow. Straighten your left leg a little bit. Slowly push yourself up from the side. Come up into sitting position. Okay. Cross your legs. So find again your sitting position, either easy cross legs or half lotus, or if you can do full lotus, you may do so. Sit tall, sitting quietly. And then to end the practice, we bring the palms together in prayer position. Then we greet each other, Namaste. So Namaste is an Indian greeting, which means the goodness in me greets the goodness in you. And Namaste.